It's Monday, September 14th, 2020. I'm Greg Nibbler, and this is Digital Trends Live. Yes, indeed. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and thanks for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. We broadcast live here every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you trending tech headlines, news, interviews, discussions, and so much more. And let's get started with some trending news right now. Oracle appears to have won the bidding war to take over the U.S. operations of TikTok, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal, but it may not be an actual outright sale. So Microsoft made an official announcement on Sunday saying that their bid had been rejected, which was surprising since it's thought that they had been in the driver's seat. ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, was facing a deadline of September 15th to reach a sale of US-based operations for the social media platform, with an outright ban threatened for September 20th if that didn't happen. But this deal with Oracle may actually be more of a management situation where Oracle is named as a trusted tech partner, essentially managing these social media platforms' US-based cloud services. Again, we don't have the exact terms released yet, but we do expect that to happen soon. So, there are still some hurdles here. China made a legislative change that essentially bans the sale of artificial intelligence technology to companies outside of China without official approval. And since TikTok's algorithm and databases are essentially what makes it so valuable, there could be an issue on the sale side. For the purchase side, there's the question of whether or not the details in the deal will be enough to satisfy the U.S. government, although Oracle has worked with them a lot in the past, so this could help out on that end. Either way, there's a lot to figure out, but it does appear that as of now, that TikTok will still be around after the end of this week, so its 100 million U.S. users should be okay as of this moment. We'll have all of the details as it unfolds at digitaltrends.com. As the devastating wildfires on the West Coast continue to rage on, there have been a number of rumors posted online sharing unverified information as to what could have started them. Facebook announced over the weekend that they would be removing posts that falsely claimed the wildfires in Oregon, in particular, were started by certain left or right-oriented political groups after the FBI made an investigation and posted on Friday that, quote, reports that extremists are setting wildfires in Oregon are untrue, unquote. This is a little different from Facebook's normal approach to misinformation, which typically involves placing a label on a post, identifying it as such, rather than completely removing it. However, after multiple local law enforcement agencies stated that these rumors were forcing local fire and police agencies to divert resources from fighting fires and protecting the public to answering these rumors, according to Facebook spokesperson Andy Stone, they decided to fully remove them. So the fires in Oregon alone have burned over 1 million acres, displaced up to 500,000 people, there are casualties, loss of structures, and really dangerous smoke has pretty much inundated the entirety of the West Coast, from fires burning up and down it and providing for the worst air conditions on Earth right now. So fighting fires is hard enough without misinformation adding to the danger, but we'll have to wait and see how far Facebook will go in their efforts. You can read more about those at digitaltrends.com. LG has officially unveiled the latest in dual-screen smartphones with a certainly unique approach to the design of them. The LG Wing has had images leaked in a number of places before this, but nonetheless, the actual debut is finally here. The dual-screen phone doesn't have a foldable screen like the Samsung Galaxy Fold or Motorola Razr. Instead, you press a button and the main 6.8-inch front screen rotates 90 degrees, revealing another 3.9-inch screen underneath. Essentially, the goal here is to increase multifunctionality, allowing you to do something like reply to messages or send emails on the bottom screen while watching a video on the now horizontal main screen. And as far as cameras, it's got 3 on the back, including a 64-megapixel main camera, and on the front, it's got a 32-megapixel pop-up selfie camera. It also could capture video from the front and rear cameras at the same time. So the phone will also come with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G processor, so it'll have 5G connectivity, and it'll have 8 gigs of RAM, up to 256 gigs of storage. LG has also said they've tested the rotation on the phone for 200,000 times. So we don't know the exact price and release date, but we do expect to get those soon. You can check out all the details about it at digitaltrends.com. And Facebook has apparently leaked its Oculus Quest 2 headset on its own after videos and images appeared on Facebook Blueprint. So for those that don't know, Facebook Blueprint is an online educational platform that helps people learn how to advertise on Facebook and Instagram. However, they somehow ended up educating everyone on a product that has not been announced yet, with Oculus demo experiences that have been taken down. So there were a lot of specs shown in it, and a line in the text read that this was our most advanced all-in-one VR system yet, according to them. So here's what we saw. The Oculus Quest 2 will be a standalone VR headset, just like the original, but the new one will address a number of concerns, like comfort level. It'll be smaller, lighter, have a cloth strap instead of a plastic strap. It's going to use a Snapdragon XR2 processor, which will allow for 2K displays, dual 2K displays, and the controllers will be upgraded as well with ergonomic features and an option to use hand tracking to where you may be able to ditch them all together. Now, we don't know when the new headset will come out or how much it will cost, but in this era of working from home and quarantine and everything else, a virtual reality escape is seeming more and more appealing. You can check out all the details at digitaltrends.com. All right, continuing on, we like to keep you up to date with everything and provide advice on all kinds of tech, and that includes robot vacuums. Our own John Velasco has a scorecard that he has put together, kind of walking through these different robot vacuums that are available. John, so good to see you. Where do you want to start off with this?
So yeah, we did a scorecard recently on digitaltrends.com talking about some of the most efficient robot vacuums because, let's face it, they help us out in our daily lives. Less cleaning for us, more cleaning for them. Easier for everyone. So we did the scorecard, and basically we were looking at three main things. I'm going to talk about them here in this piece. So the first thing we're looking for is whether or not they have some sort of automatic dirt disposal system. So can these robot vacuums actually clean themselves out after they're done? Because that's one less thing for us to worry about. Number two, does it have a wet mopping option? Because yes, cleaning the floors is great, sucking up dirt and debris is great, but if they also mop, makes it even better. And the last thing here is whether or not they have zones. Can you set up zones for different rooms? You could tell a robot vacuum to go to the living room, the bedroom, and can you also set up boundaries so that they don't go to places where they're not supposed to go? So the first one we talk about here on our list is the Shark IQ robot. Now, out of all the ones I'm going to talk about here, this is the most affordable one. It's $550, and yes, it has that auto dirt disposal system. So when it's done cleaning, it'll automatically go back to its home base, empty itself out, so there's nothing on your end that you have to worry about. And you clean that disposal system, I'd say probably once a month. You could also set up zones so that the robot knows where to go, so it can be far more efficient. It does have a lower capacity 3,000 milliamp hour battery, so that means the runtime is a little bit less than the others, about 90 minutes. But the nice thing about robot vacuums today is that they're intelligent. If their battery's low, they'll go back to the home base, charge up a little bit, just enough to get the rest of the cleaning done, and then go back to where it left off and complete the entire cleaning. So moving on to the second one that made our recommendation is the Roborock S6 Max V. So yeah, this is an interesting robot. It has a lot of tech in it. And the neat thing about it is that it has a mopping feature, so it does that for you. It has also, you could set up your zone so it knows where to go. It does have a built-in camera, which is unique among robot cameras. It uses LiDAR technology for navigation and mapping out your rooms. And the neat thing about the camera itself is that it'll automatically detect obstacles. So let's say you have a shoe or let's say a pet bowl, it'll be able to detect those things and move away from them so it doesn't get tangled up. And it's very efficient too because of that LiDAR system. It maps your home out, so it does an S pattern, so it automatically will clean and mop. It's a little bit pricey up there. It's at $800, but you get the best of everything. So you have AI-driven cameras, you have the mopping functionality. It's an efficient cleaner, so definitely something we'd recommend here. And moving on, so that's on the high end, but the highest end model that we're going to talk about here is the iRobot Roomba S9 Plus. Now, this is the king out of, I'd probably say, all the robot vacuums. It has excellent cleaning performance. It has an auto dirt disposal system. So just like the Shark, it'll automatically go back to the home base when the dustbin is completely full and empty itself out. So that's just more convenience for you at home. You don't have to worry about that. You could also set up zones. So if you want Tal to go to the living room, clean up a particular area, you could even set it up now so that it knows where the dining room table is. So after every meal, you could have it clean up automatically. It, like I said, excellent cleaner. It has a special type of brush. This type of brush that they use doesn't get tangled with hair or other debris that you see with traditional brushes. It is costly, though, I want to say, $1,000, but you're getting an excellent robot vacuum that'll clean, very efficient, And yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in robot vacuums as far as being more efficient.
Yeah, I mean, all three of those are great examples right there. And
Exactly.
just with some of that tech that's involved with them, LiDAR, I mean, $1,000 is a lot for a robot vacuum. But still, if it's cleaning that well, I mean, I suppose it probably does pay for itself in the long run. And I know we've got all of these too up at Digital
Yep.
Trends. I'm assuming, John, is there a roundup of all of these?
Yeah, we have them on digitaltrends.com. And also, I want to point out if you have a lower budget, $1,000 is really up there. I have some other recommendations out there, like the Eufy RoboVac L70, $500. You have a dual system mopper vacuum combination. There's the Niato D7, which has a very unique D-shaped design, so it's great as far as covering the corners. And there's also the Ecovacs DBot 960 that I want to recommend. It has advanced AI, so it also can detect objects and avoid them. But yeah, check out the full scorecard on our website, digitaltrends.com.
Awesome. John Velasco, thank you so much. Always great having John here on the show to cover all of this and keep us up to date with everything going on in the world of technology, in particular for your smart homes. All right, continuing on here with Digital Trends Live. Up next, we've got a very special segment of Women with Drive. We've got Julia Daviy, who's going to be joining us to talk about 3D printing in the fashion world and some of the amazing things she's done. That's up next. Stick around. Back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome to Women with Drive, where we meet women who have become industry pioneers and innovators dominating their respective fields. I'm your host, Greg Nibbler, and this segment is sponsored by Porsche, the new Cayenne Coupe shaped by performance. Our guest today is at the forefront of technological architecture, utilizing cutting-edge 3D printing techniques to create individual customized fashion pieces and clothing at a mass scale that result in a zero-waste production cycle. Julia Daviy is an inventor, a designer, an environmentalist, a 3D printing pioneer, and the co-founder of the New Age Lab. Julia, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Excited to talk to you, and we wanted to start off with this and just talk about your career. What kind of goals did you set for yourself when you decided to challenge the predominant manufacturing processes in place for clothing and fashion?
Well, I came into the fashion industry when I already had a decade years of experience in renewable energy and clean tech. But actually, what has been a driving force for all this is when I became a mom, I realized that I couldn't just do business in clean tech. I wanted to live an eco-friendly lifestyle and to wear sustainable clothes. So my first project in the fashion industry was very simple. I launched a brand of activewear made of organic fabrics. And here I realized that the real problem in the fashion industry is manufacturing and long, unsustainable, untraceable supply chain. And actually the most of the social issues and environmental problems came from there. So my predominant, my main goal was to create a really sustainable manufacturing process. And yeah, I was maybe crazy enough to try to do it with the additive manufacturing and to try to adopt this technology for the fashion industry.
That's a tremendously high goal to set. Something to ask you too with this, when you started out, what was the breakthrough moment in your career where you knew this hard work was really making an impact?
Well, in 2018, when I presented my collection of 3D printed clothes, which was created on large format 3D printers, that was that moment when I realized that a lot would be done with this technology. And even though we had a number of technical difficulties, 3D printing for sustainability in the fashion industry, it definitely made sense. And right after the presentation of this collection, I started to receive lots of requests from young people around the globe. They started to choose 3D printing as a topic to explore for their master's and even PhD works. And even I would say from the start of this year, especially from the start of this COVID pandemic, I see a number of new designers and new companies that starting to experiment with 3D printing for the fashion industry and use it with this sustainable goal to achieve sustainability.
Well, talking about the sustainability as well, what are some of the different ways that 3D printing can help facilitate that sustainability?
There are definitely many ways how 3D printing can achieve, I would say, a radical sustainability. Even at this stage, when we still have some obstacles and we still don't have the ideal technology and ideal materials, even at this stage, 3D printing has a number of advantages. And the first one is digitalization. Full traceability, full control over your product, full control over your supply chain. Actually, all the supply chain turns into a very simple and very short process. Just you create a digital design, you 3D print it, and you assemble if it's needed, or make some post processing. And all of that could be done in the same place.
Well, when it comes to 3D printing in the fashion world, how scalable is this technology?
Oh, it's definitely scalable. All you need just more 3D printers. And actually, when you have your design ready, you design it piece of clothing, you design it bag. It's actually it exists as a digital file that could be sent anywhere in the world and 3D printed there.
Well, Julia, clearly you're at the forefront of this, and you mentioned that there's other designers now getting into this and experimenting with 3D printing. But for you personally, what are some of the obstacles you faced, and what keeps you driven to get past them?
Well, I was moving intuitively, and all of that started from a question: what if you try that? What if that would be possible? Because the answers that I mostly got that that's impossible. 3D printing is absolutely irrelevant to the fashion industry. So I was curious to try, and we had a number of experiments in our laboratory, and we still have them actually. But speaking about obstacles, of course, the material side is still needs improvements, and we continue to experiment with new materials. And of course, the cost of production is still higher, but compared to the mass-produced fashion products. But I believe that in it will be more affordable.
One other thing I wanted to ask you too, and you mentioned a lot of other people coming in, you've overcome a lot of these obstacles. What advice would you have for young women who are entering into the tech space right now?
I do believe that there are still a lot of uncovered potential at the intersection of ecology and technology. And I believe that the better technologies and materials are still not invented. And I do believe that there is a lot of space for women in there. At the same time, I'm not sure whether would it be able to protect the planet. I mean, where would be able to not to miss this moment when we can change the industry. So I would advise everyone, and especially young women who enter the space, to analyze deeply before pushing a certain way of the technology development and before developing a particular product.
Well, Julia, I want to say thank you so much for joining us to talk about all of this and share your knowledge of that. I guess I have one last question to you, just to talking about tech. What do you feel is one piece of tech that helps you to excel?
I believe in biotechnology, especially I believe in ethical biotechnology. I believe that there is a lot of potential at the intersection of biotechnology and 3D printing. Especially we may create better materials using bacteria, mushrooms, plants, and use them for 3D printing of a new generation of clothing and products.
Well, Julia, thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for sharing this with us here on Digital Trends. For everybody out there who wants to learn more about what you're doing in particular and maybe the technology in general, where do you recommend that we send them?
Definitely my website, and I have some blog there, and my Instagram, Julia Daviy.
Fantastic. Julia, thank you very much for being a part of this interview. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for being here on Digital Trends Live.
Thanks so much for having me.
That's very fascinating. So somebody at the forefront of so much different technology. Really appreciate her being part of this Women with Drive segment. And thanks to everybody out there who's joining us wherever you are. Coming up next on Digital Trends Live, we've got awesome tech you can't buy yet with Drew Prindle. Stick around, back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and again, thank you for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. It is now time for awesome tech you can't buy yet. All right, our own Drew Prindle scours the internet to find some of the best, strangest, and sometimes coolest crowdfunding campaigns that are out there. Drew, hello, good to see you. And which one of these do we want to start off with here first?
I think the appropriate one to start off with this week is this Quell gaming / exercise system. So, as you know, because we've had them on the show a million times, Kickstarter and Indiegogo are kind of like gold mines of weird new fitness gear. There's all kinds of weird smart mirrors. There's the rowing machine we had on a couple, like there's tons of them, but this one is one of the more fun ones that I've seen in a long time. It's basically a like an at-home like boxing trainer kind of thing, but it's sort of done in VR, so like as a video game. But instead of being VR with like a headset and some of the boxing games that you've seen in traditional VR environments, this doesn't require the headset. Instead, you wear a harness that not only tracks like the motion of your punches, but also provides resistance. So it gives you more of a workout. And that's actually how you progress through the game, is you punch out all of these monsters or whatever. And as you progress, it kind of tailors the workout to help you just get the most out of it. So it's a pretty interesting marriage of video games and working out.
I do kind of like that one. I mean, I gotta say, especially, since you can't go outside, you can't go anywhere anymore. Yeah, this is something I would be interested in this one. And how much was it? Let's see. I'm trying to look here and see how much
it
was.
Just over $200.
Just over $200. That's not bad at all, actually.
I mean, it's a lot because that's you're getting up to around the price of it. Yeah. So it's like you get the harness, you get the game, you get all of that stuff. I don't think you need any particular console for it to work with. Probably need some sort of computer to run it with. But yeah, it's not exactly cheap, but it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I think that's okay. That's definitely an interesting one to start off with. Okay, so again, going through here, awesome tech you can't buy yet. What's the next one you want to hit?
All right, next one. Let's talk about this. The talk socket. So you've undoubtedly heard of a pop socket before, right? You know those little pucks people put on the back of their phones. I actually have one. I love them. I talk crap about them all the time, but they're great. They're so functional. They just make it easier to hold onto your phone. But that's really all they do, is they allow you to hold onto your phone easier. So the talk socket takes this idea a little bit further, and instead of just providing a grip for your phone, it also has Alexa functionality built into it. So the tricky thing about that is, like, obviously your smartphone has the ability to do talk, it can run Alexa, it can run Google Assistant, all of those things, but they're not exactly like hands-free. In order to get to them, you have to like open menus and click on app icons and stuff like that. So it's not really a truly hands-free experience, which is kind of clunky because like you can use Alexa like you normally do and just say, "Hey Alexa," when you're in your living room, but anytime you're outside of that, you kind of lose that ability. So the talk socket brings it back and brings back that totally hands-free operation wherever you go.
I mean, that's cool. It seems like a bit obsessive to me, but maybe, or excessive at least. But still, that I like some innovation with that. So talk socket, that one is $59 for it, and so far this has doubled its goal with 24 days to go. So clearly people want the talk socket. All right, so that's the second one. We got the talk socket, we got the Quell. What's the last one that you want to hit?
All right, number 3 is the Wormwood modular gaming table. So these guys have been on Kickstarter a couple times before. This is their latest project. Basically what they make is tables that look like normal dining tables or whatever, but they have this like really clever snap together like leaf system on the top that you can remove, and that exposes this nice like felt lined interior. It's kind of sunken, so you can throw dice or do whatever, and it won't roll off the table. But yeah, so basically what it is a dining table that transforms into like the perfect gaming table. So in addition to that sunken, like, felt pocket, whatever, it's also got this like really clever rail system on the outside of it that allows you to put an extra leaf in there for like snacks or whatever, but you can also put like cup holders on the side, or put a little tray for dice or whatever you're going to be using to game with. And it really just makes your dining room table or your coffee table in your living room a little bit more functional than it would otherwise be, and makes it a little bit more like purposefully designed for just tabletop games, board games, whatever games you like to play when you have people over.
I like this one. This seems like it's kind of one of those no-brainer things that should have been around already. Maybe it is in some way, shape, or form. Let's see, the price on these looks like around $300 for it.
That's $300 plus. I guess that's where you start. Yeah, that's for the smallest one. That's like the coffee table size, the little one. It scales up from there. But these guys have made, if you check out the project, they've made over $8 million in pledges right now, which means they've got like close to a month left. So they are on track actually to be one of the, if not the highest, like most funded Kickstarter project in Kickstarter's history, which would mean they'd have to break the $13 million barrier in order to beat the Coolest Cooler. But that's not necessarily out of the question. They've made $8 million already in less than a month.
Yeah, with 25 days left to go. I mean, all they have to do is just, deliver on it to not be the Coolest Cooler. But $1 million goal, 8 million so far, 25 days. I think they could do it. I think they can break it. And actually, it's perfect timing for something like this to come
100%.
out. I mean, if ever is the time, now is the time for a modular home gaming table to break records. Well, that's awesome. So that's, again, why it's part of Awesome Tech. Three different products right there, but we've got the rest of them all at Digital Trends as well, where each week Drew finds these different crowdfunding campaigns and brings them to us. Drew, as always, thank you so much, sir. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, later, Greg.
Drew Prindle right here for Awesome Tech. You can't buy yet. Check out all of those at digitaltrends.com. And I want to thank everybody for joining us here on Digital Trends Live every single weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. We bring you trending tech headlines, news, interviews, discussions, and so much more. We broadcast live, but you can also share the show afterward. Hit subscribe wherever you're watching. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/digitaltrendslive. Hit subscribe to that. That'd be great. And also, thank you sincerely for everybody watching. I'm Greg Nebler. I'll see you right back here tomorrow with another edition of Digital Trends Live.